our moderator today, Fasil.
Thanks, Tiffany. Good evening, everyone. This is Fasil Abera, your moderator for tonight. Welcome to our monthly Career Advancement Club session, where we used to have it every Thursdays. Uh, I see a lot of people from different places. Welcome, everybody. Those of you who's been with us for a while, welcome. Those of you who are new, happy to have you here. I hope you get all the goods from the session. Um, as I mentioned, this is our Career Advancement Club. The main motive or objective of the club is to bring people, network, gather around, and share success stories. Within the success stories we have heard in the past, we were able like to exchange different experiences and learn from people insights. Today we brought you two guests. Usually we have like one guest on the session, but for this special occasion, we are blessed with two amazing women who are successful both on their fields. So we get to ask them questions, learn from their experience, share their success stories, and at the end, you can feel free to ask them any questions if you have one. Saying that, the next webinar will be hosted on January 14. If we can go back one slide. Yeah, that's fine. So the next webinar will be January 14th. The one after that is on February 11th and March 11th. I hope to see you guys all. The Zoom session will still remain the same. I mean the ID 911-244-4850. And this session is sponsored by four organizations, which I would talk about a little bit ahead. Next slide, please. And we do have a special webinar tomorrow as well, around noontime Eastern time, where our very own Dr. Gabe Hamda will be talking about 10 professional behaviors that accelerate your careers. Um, he wrote an article about it. I got a chance to read it. Very insightful. I welcome everybody. I urge everybody to join that session if time suits you. We promise you that like you will learn a lot through that insightful session. And I would like to remind you that the Zoom ID will be the same. It will be 991-244-4850. And please let us know if you have any questions on the chat box about the tomorrow's webinar. Next session. So next, I will start going through the community career promoter goals. I kind of mentioned that earlier on. The first reason is it inspires career advancement seekers to achieve their highest human potential. It also connects career advancement seekers with local career resources, and it serves all people who seek career advancement. If you like trying to grow in your field, if you're trying to join a new career field, this would be a good place to get good insights and learn from people who are already on the field. Next slide, please. Besides sharing the objective, the Career Advanced Club would like to share one resource that can come handy in your career development. It's called American Job Center. So if you're seeking career advancement, you can contact your nearest location. Basically, what they do is they provide different trainings, different sessions. They help you with like career coaching. The services they provide is amazing and so diverse. So the Job Center provide free help to job seekers for a variety of career and employment related needs. Nearly 2,400 centers funded by the U.S. Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration are located through the United States. So feel free to browse the internet and check their website, find your American Job Center nearest location, and check what their services are. And I hope you all will find it very essential and useful. So this is what the website looks like. Just visit www.careeronestop.org. The features provide you different services, and I urge you to check it out. And please do come back and share your experiences if you get like any opportunities with them as well, so that like, it'll be a good experience for others. Next slide, please. So now I would introduce you to our Career Advancement Club sponsors. Our first sponsor is Impact Management and IT Solutions. These services provide simplified solutions, management services from start to completion. They also provide information technology services from basic to complex based on customer needs. If you want to contact the contact person, it's Sion Haile, and her number is 571-264-4744. Sion also works with this club. She's been helping us out like by volunteering, and she is really great at what she does, and I am sure that like she'll provide you the best service. Next slide. Our second sponsor is RD Solutions. The solution provides digital marketing, including website development, print and online promotion materials, online marketing, and advertising. You can contact Wukano Stashagar by number 301-351-7360 and get their services. Our third sponsor is Azib Tele Promo Club LLC. Azib Tele Promo Club is an international business promoter. Their services include business-to-business global network, top-level music promoter, and they also work with non-profit promotion. The contact person will be Azib Talele. Her number is 316-633-0593. Next slide. And our last sponsor is ICAT. ICAT Professional Services is your partner for professional development, talent source, data analytics, and societal impact. Service offerings include career academy, outsourcing, staffing and recruitment, applied data analytics, and social enterprise. The contact person for ICAT would be Gabe Hamda, Dr. Gabe Hamda. His number is 904-382-5471, and the best service out there will be provided by Gabe Hamda. So feel free to contact him. So we thank you for our sponsors, like for helping us to create this platform, and they've been with us like for a while. And thank you for making this opportunity for us and others. So this is just a gentle reminder so that this will go without like any technical problems. We advise you to mute yourself, and you can also not use your video as well. If you have any questions and concerns, feel free to put it in the chat box. If you have any questions, you can use the raise hand icon to ask your questions. So with that, I'll take you to our main session where we talk about success story. Our guests for today are two amazing successful women, one on the public health field, and the other one is has been working on the IT field. Our first guest is Marian Dashaw. Marian Dashaw is public health consultant, where she primarily managed data collection software in support of a federal and global public health agency. Mary has been working in public health for over 10 years. Her contributions include volunteering her time as a health educator, conducting research on cancer, mortality, and screening, as well as the mental health impact of living with HIV. People who closely know Mary compliment her for being organized, planning ahead, and having great written on oral communication skills. She also receives compliments for smiling, laughing, and spreading joy. Our second guest is Martha Folkang. Martha is an information technology consultant. Martha holds MBA and certified speaker and coach with the John Maxwell team. She's also a strength strategy certified coach. She works with individuals and organizations who are focused on building their people and organizations to improve engagement at all levels and leave a legacy. She advocates intentional growth and development as the catalyst that makes the future better for people and organizations. She is a self-believer and was fortunate to find her drive from a young age, which has provided the fuel for her to pursue her passion and dreams. Her desire has always been to live a life of purpose, full of good values, and influence others to do the same. I welcome you both on behalf of our participants and the Career Club. Thank you very much for dedicating your time to share your success stories. I would like to start by giving you the floor to introduce yourself. Tell us like anything about us. As our very own Gabe says, like feel free to brag all you want. Mary, I will start with you.
As you've already said, I'm a public health professional. I've been working in the field for a while. I'm a consultant to Centers for Disease Control. I know if you didn't know what that was, I'm sure you do now because we're in the middle of a pandemic. I've been here for 5 years and I love what I do. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. And you'll get to hear more about me as you ask me questions. I know time is limited, so I'll keep my introduction to that.
Thank you very much, Mary, for that introduction. Martha, you can take over.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all for coming today. My name is Martha Fokang. I'm from Central Africa, specifically Cameroon. So, like you've all read, I have an MBA in Business Administration. This is my 2.5 year in the US, going to 3 years. I came here early 2000 late 2017 to the US. So I actually started my career with IBM in East Asia, specifically in the Philippines, where I was working as in the HR department as service administrator. Then grew within the same industry as a senior customer success analyst. And as part of my career growth path, because I pay attention and adding value to myself and to the people around me. So I merged into cloud computing, which I'm currently working on. So I'm currently working with Infosys as a cloud computing consultant. So I think that's pretty much about me for now. We'll get to know more.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Martha. So before I cut to the chase, I'm sorry that like I'm throwing this out of nowhere, but Mary, since you have been working as a public health consultant, you mentioned that we're going through the pandemic. So is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Is this thing going to be over like pretty soon now that like we have the vaccine in picture?
I mean, I guess it depends on actions of the government, including vaccine distribution. But at the same time, you also have to pay attention to, you have what, 350 million people in the US. So vaccinating the high risk people first, and then continuing down that being, older people working in the health profession, your doctors, nurses. Yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but I would say continue to take precautions if you're able to. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you very much, Martha. I mean, Mary. I keep like confusing this name. So I'm really sorry, Mary.
No
So
problem.
thank you for that note. We've been like going through a lot this year. Hopefully 2020 is almost ending, and like we will hopefully go to the normal situation soon. I hope everyone is doing well through this pandemic time. So as Mary said, like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So let's just like be strong and then wait for that day. Marta, I'm going to come to you.
Okay.
So I've noticed that you're a career changer as well. That's something I share also. I came from a public international background. Once I moved to the States, I pursued cybersecurity. We have talked about this in the previous sessions.
Okay.
So people are like always hesitant like to change their careers, right?
Yeah.
But some factors like might force you like to change careers. I'm sure like you have an experience to relate with. So how open should people be to try something new, to challenge themselves with like new skills? And if you can share like your experience, what made you go through the career change as well?
Well, thank you for that question. First thing I would say is change is something that is very constant. Like even with creation, there, I mean, there are four seasons. There is spring, there is winter, there is summer. So things are changing. So for me, when I go to a country, like I I I try to take time to study the environment and see how I can fit in. So when I came to the US, I have a business background, a finance and business background. But when I came here, I studied that sector. I realized that as an immigrant, it's not impossible, but it has more challenges to get into the management path. So I started figuring out which sector is easier or is less challenging as an immigrant to easily integrate in the US. Then I found out healthcare and IT is I found out those two sectors that I could easily integrate in those areas as an immigrant. Then healthcare, I look into it. It's like going back to school. Like it's a longer path. If I have to go back to like study a bachelor's and everything, then I kind of embrace IT because coming from IBM,
Mhm.
I had some IT background because even though I was working in the HR department, but we had some mandatory courses that we we got exposed to IT, we got exposed to IBM Cloud, and I also saw that the cloud industry it's kind of like it's increasing in demand. So I just say, okay, let me step into this new career path and see where it's gonna land me. And that's how I switch. I've been switching. Even I think also after my MBA, I went back to Cameroon. I was working with the firm. Then I decided to just switch and start my own business. So I started a consulting firm where I work with schools, with pharmacies, doing customer satisfaction survey. So I think always studying the season, the environment where you are, it's a factor. So you just don't have to be like, I only know management. So even if I'm in Cameroon, I'm just going to do management. Even if I'm in the US, I'm just going to do management. You have to be flexible. You have to study where you are and find what fits, or what is it that would easily give you access to integrate into the system. So that's how I look at it.
Thank you very much for that answer. I really relate with everything that you said. Studying your environment is very crucial. Knowing what is like needed in the job market
Yeah.
is also like so wise. The world is like seeing a lot of like it's going through a lot of things. So like, what is needed today might not be needed tomorrow.
Yes.
So opening yourself for like new skills, like challenging yourself, like with your spare time,
Yes.
starting with like something basic, like
Yes.
is very, very crucial these days. I
Yes.
cannot stress that enough.
Mhm.
And
Can I add to that,
sure,
actually?
definitely.
So I studied public health and I was interviewing for a public health position that I really wanted, in an organization that I really wanted. And I thought the interview was going well. And then they asked me, do you know SQL? And I was like, what's that?
Mhm.
Uh, and for the position I was applying for, I had no idea why they are asking me this, because I had just finished my training and I thought I knew everything I needed to know about public health. And that interview ended, and I was like, what's that? And I started reading about it. And I answered honestly. I said, I have no idea what that is, but I'm willing to learn. But they weren't, I guess, willing to take me up on that offer and gave the job to somebody else.
Mhm.
But reading about it, I realized there was a gap in my training and what the market needed. Like reading through other job descriptions as well. SQL is a database where you host data, and it's relational database, and whatever. Like I read all of this, and I was like, like we're in the middle of a data revolution. Data is gold. Public health is all about data. And I only know one aspect of it, which is I know how to collect it, I know how to analyze it. But in the greater scheme of, data and how it's managed and how it's stored and how it's retrieved, I have no idea. No one
Mhm.
trained me on this. So I kind of made it my purpose after that to know what the market needs, and to, like, I'm not a SQL expert per se, but I
Mhm.
can get by now because either I've taught myself, or I've looked for positions that gave me the opportunity to learn SQL and other coding languages like R, because I realized that there are a lot of people out there with a public health degree that will be asked these questions that can't, that may not be able to answer the question. I know what SQL is, or I know what how to code in R. So I just learned from that job interview and kind of prepared myself. And currently, I'm actually a public health expert on an informatics team.
Mhm.
Um, and I do feel like that it would give me an edge in future positions. So I just wanted to add to that. Always know the market.
Thank you very much, Mary, for that. Like, that's a great story, like to tell people that, everything is not really that complicated. You just have to give it a chance, like be open to like new opportunities and skills and then excel in it. People who doesn't come from the IT background, I used to be that person. Like you might fear that, like, it might be a little bit complicated for you, but you can always start from like something basic, like learn how to fix your computer and then like grow yourself up to the upper level courses. But it's really great to be that open. One thing I would like to add on that is I just had an interview recently, and it's an IT team. It's called a SOC operation team. And I kept telling him that like I came from a different background. And one of the managers said that within that SOC team, the one that really are doing good is people who did not have the IT background. So that really shows that like, like everything is learnable, and then you can even be better than those who has the technical background. With that, I'll take you to the next question, and this is for both of you. So what are the best insightful career tips you received from others? One. The follow-up question to that is whether it's like in your industry or like it could be general, what are the career tips that you can give to our participants or like for those who are listening to this session? I would start with Marta.
Thank you once more. For me, firstly, I would say just find something you love or something you're passionate about. I mean, like, be it on a job, like, let's say you're working somewhere, you need to find something that you love about that job. If like, your passion for that job or your passion for that position or for whatever you're doing, it's going to give you the drive or the motivation to keep wanting to learn more about a job, to invest more time on it, and that will help you to deliver more. And also hard work. I mean, I believe in hard work. I believe that if you work hard, whatever you sow is what you're going to reap. So if you invest time, resources, you definitely reap. So hard work it's one of the tips that I can say. I mean, you need to embrace. And also you have to, for a career tip, one more I can say, always like look at your work ethics. Do you deliver more to do you deliver more than what is expected from you, or you deliver less? So you have to look at your work ethics. How do you deliver at work?
That's a great answer, Marta. I know you're like a believer and so passionate. While I was reading your bio, it says her desire has always been to live a life of purpose, full of good values, and influence others to do the same. So that answer is so relevant to like what is written here. If I don't bother you or if you're willing to do so, please take the next half a minute to walk us through what your passion is so that we can get that motivation, so that like your passion can impact others as well. So go ahead.
Before I go to that second question, I just want to give an example. My current job right now at work. Last week we're working on finding a patching strategy for the client, and we have some Windows servers that what um, the current tool that we have doesn't patch Windows servers, and nobody in the team knows the other tool, which is called WSOS. So I just told my manager, okay, I'm gonna learn about this tool because we need it.
Wow.
So I went to Udemy, bought courses on that tool, study what WSOS is, develop a strategy, and I tested it and it worked. And I presented it to my manager and they were so happy. Like, so you, firstly, like I said, your passion for what you're doing will drive you to do that. Hard work and also the desire to deliver more to the team, to bring something valuable will also make you to always wanting to discover more. I mean, it's gonna keep you, how can I say, it's gonna give you an edge. That's it. Yeah. So your second question again, sorry.
What is your passion? Like you talk about your passion and your bio. So like just take half a minute to walk us through your passion so that we can get motivation out of it as well. Passion and life in general.
My passion, okay. My passion comes from my background, from where I came from. So I am the fifth girl. I am the last from fifth. My mom has five girls. So I'm the last girl. And being an African lady, just having female children, it has its own negative side. So my mom was like, I think my dad's family kind of rejected her. You're only having girls, and
Yeah.
in those days, girls were not like valuable. When you're married and you only have female kids, they see it like a loss. Like you don't have a male child.
Mhm.
So growing up, I saw the way my mom kind of like, my mom is not that educated, but she invested so much on us to be better people, she gave us everything, all the education that she couldn't have. She said, you need to be educated, you need to study, you need to be at the top of everything. So I grew up knowing that I have to be the best.
Wow.
So that is where my passion came from. I'm passionate about adding value to people. I love to see people grow. I love to see people becoming the best version of themselves.
Mhm.
I love to see people like help them unlock, like detach them from their limiting belief system. Those are the things that I'm passionate about. And because I'm passionate about that, it permits me to also be adding value to myself, because you can't give to people what you don't have. So I'm constantly adding value to myself because I know at the back of my mind that I need to be adding value to others.
Thank you very much, Martha. Like, that's a great story. That's a lot that we can learn from. Mary, I'll go to you with the questions just to remind you, like, what are the career tips that you received from others that are very insightful, and what are the tips that you can give us generally, like for all of us?
So career tips that I got that I felt that supported me. I remember one of my mentors told me that, I should focus on being a critical thinker and a problem solver. A lot of times people get like a technical training, but that's not what you do forever. That's just the basics of what you know, but you have to be able to think about things in a bigger picture and solve problems in a bigger picture. And she said, your career will change over time, and the career you pick right now, because I think I was stressed out about, like, I don't know what to major in, I don't know what to major in. And that's one of the things that she said is, what you study today, the career you pick today is likely not what you're going to do for the rest of your life. That's not common for everyone. A lot of jobs that existed today will not exist, a decade from now. And the same thing, in a decade, there will be many opportunities. So you have to be a person that can fit and mold into these situations. And what gets you there is, one, learning quickly, bringing yourself up to speed. Two, being a critical thinker and being a problem solver. So I thought that was very insightful, because when I was younger, what I thought is, you become a dentist, you stay a dentist, or you become an engineer and you stay an engineer. But I didn't think about the growth that happens in a span of a career. So that helped me think about that. And then another thing is, I remember I was making a decision about like moving to Atlanta for the position that got me here. And it felt like a demotion because, I had a job for 3 years. I was getting paid well. And when I moved here, I was moving here as a fellow. So that's generally something people do right out of school. But I've been in my job for 3 years. And then it was also a pay cut, and it felt like a demotion. And I wasn't sure if I should do it. And my other mentor sat me down and said, life is not, people always talk about career as a ladder that you climb, and the next step is always going to get you further than you were before. But he said, think about your career as a lattice. Sometimes you're going to move laterally, sometimes you're going to move backwards, sometimes you're going to move forwards. It's what fits in that moment in your life. Don't focus too much on the money. Don't focus too much on, do I have more responsibilities than I did in this current job? Sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want to do something that teaches you something new, or that gets you closer to what you're passionate about. And so I thought that was powerful. He said, in 30 years, you're not going to keep climbing. Sometimes you're going to climb backwards, and that's okay. That's part of life. So I thought those two were powerful, and they've helped me accept some of the decisions I've had to make in my career so far.
Those are very insightful and important tips. Just a quick question. You mentioned about critical thinking and problem solving, and those skills are required in almost any type of position. So these two skills, is it something that you work on, or is it inborn, like you're born with it? So if you don't have it, like what are the methods or approach that you can follow in order to improve yourself on it? Like, is there anything you can advise out on that?
Uh, what I've learned in life is I don't know if any, I mean, some people are generally like better aptitude for certain things versus others, but there's nothing that you can't teach yourself. I truly believe that. To be critical thinker, I would say, there's a lot of resources out there. Read. One thing I've done in the past is I wrote a list of things that maybe this will come in the next question, but I wrote a list of things that I considered a weakness for myself or that I could do better in. And I found a book about each thing and read about it. And if critical thinking is not something that doesn't come naturally, I'm sure there's probably 10 books out there about critical thinking. You can find the best one and read about it. And once you read a book, I would say try to implement it in daily life. Whether you're in a meeting, if there's a perspective, is there a perspective somebody's not bringing up? And a lot of times new skills that I'm learning, I try to practice in low stakes situations, not like when I need to bring my A game. It could be in my personal life, or it could be in, low key meetings at work, that I could try to see like, okay, that's something I read. Can I implement it here? So that would be my suggestion. Continue to learn. And if you think you're not good at something, go get a book about it or get a library book. You don't even have to pay for it, really.
Yeah, awesome. So like most people think growing or like improving their professional skills, but yet again, like, you have to grow as a person. Your personal skills are as important as like professional skills, right? So as you've mentioned, like reading books or like, using or utilizing different resources to work on yourself, to work on your weaknesses, because like I believe we are a work in progress. So I say that like that's very essential to grow as a person and like do good in career as well. With that, I'll take you to the next question. So this is for both of you again. What are career lessons that you learned the hard way? And feel free to take the next 2 minutes to answer that. Martha, I'll go with you.
Thank you once more. Well, one of the major lessons I've learned the hard way is learn to build relationships at work, healthy relationships. Like if you're at the place of work, you should have a good, healthy relationship with your manager, with your colleagues, because somebody might speak about you somewhere where a decision is to be made. Let's say there is promotion, or yeah, they might need somebody to occupy a certain role. You're not there. Somebody has to speak on your behalf. And the person who speak on your behalf positively is the person that you have a healthy, positive relationship with. So I didn't know that before. I just focus on my work. When I go to my place of work, I focus on delivering, just focus on doing the work. I don't talk to people. I don't build relationship. No, now as I've grown, I've learned that it's very important to build positive and healthy relationships at work. Even if you're leaving the company, they call for background check. Your manager should be able to say something nice about you, or a colleague or a supervisor should be able to say, oh, wow, Martha, she's this, she's that, she's, like give a positive reference. So learn to build a healthy relationship with your manager and your peers is one of the lessons I learned the hard way.
Thank you very much, Martha. I suffered with that problem as well. I did an internship with this nonprofit company where I really struggled to learn the culture. Like as you mentioned, like I came from a different background. I moved from Europe, and the American work setting is totally different.
Yes.
So if you don't come out of your shell, people will start thinking that you're weird or not, you're
Yes.
not
Yeah.
approachable. And I've learned that in a hard way as well. They
Yeah.
fit me for this position. They have. I got interviewed for it, and then I did not get the job. And I asked them why, and they were like, "Well, you answered every question right, but you did not talk about the job that you did with us." For me, I'm like, you already know what I did. Like, you're my direct supervisor. So what's the point of like bringing that up in the interview, being modest, you know? But
Yeah.
that worked against my advantage. And, you know, you always have to be able to work towards like learning new cultures as well. Mary, feel free to answer this question.
I guess my answer is also going to be very similar to you guys. One thing I learned is that what works at work. You learn a lot in school, and I don't know. I feel like maybe I applied 20% of it. The rest of it is your temperament as well as the soft skills that determine how far you get in life. How well you communicate with other people. This includes building relationship with other people. And it's also like knowing your strengths and weaknesses. For as long as I can remember, when I was a student, a lot of my mentors and professors told me that I needed to be more assertive. I didn't know what that meant. And that didn't click for me until I was maybe, 3 or 4 years into my career, or 5 years into my career, actually, about 3 years ago. And it clicked, and I realized how it affected me, not being assertive. Like, I don't talk about my achievements. I don't, I don't talk a lot, so I don't get noticed at work. And so this affects whether you get promoted or not. And this also affects your personal life. Being assertive is basically being able to set boundaries for what works for you and what doesn't. Let's say at work, your manager keeps on piling work and you're just taking it on and you're taking it all, you're going to drop the ball at one point because you're taking on more than you should. So at some point you have to be able to say, hey, no, like I have enough on my plate. Can you get somebody else to do it? Or, it's 5 o'clock on a Friday and somebody's like, you have a minute. And you're like, actually, no, set up a meeting on my calendar. I was not able to say these things. And I would do things begrudgingly. And I'm sure that attitude, that energy comes out, right? So knowing what yes is internally for me and being able to externalize that and say that and communicate that in a way that still kept my relationships positive, I thought was a game changer for me.
Thank you very much. Another insightful tip from you. So now we have like 10 minutes. I do still have a few questions here. In the meantime, our participants, if you have any question, like feel free to put it in the chat box. But my next question would be, what actions in the past led you to secure jobs? In other words, what did you do right to secure jobs in the past? Martha, feel free to answer that.
Well, thank you. Firstly, I would say it's good when you get somewhere for the first time. If you join an organization, it's very important to study the organizational culture and know. Once you study the organizational culture, how they operate, that will permit you to know how to contribute to the team or to the or to the company. So you have to, one of the action whenever I go to a company, I take a few weeks, I just stay quiet, just observe and study how they operate. Because every company operates in a different way, or every team. So when I come to a place, I come to a company for the first time, I just observe, study, and learn their organizational culture, how they operate, how they do things. Then now I know how to fit in and contribute to the company. And one other action that I intentionally focus on is I do not let other colleagues poor morale about their job influence how I do my job. Because it's very common when you go to a place of work and people just start saying, oh, this manager is like this, I don't like this job. That's their perception about their job. So you don't let their poor morale or their values about how they perceive their jobs affect or influence you, how you perceive your job. Your goal is to love what you do and make sure you deliver the values you are paid for.
Great answer, Martha. Mary?
So this goes back to something we've already spoken to earlier, which is, always updating your skill, knowing what the market needs. But on another level, what has led me to secure jobs is that understand the current circumstances that you're in the world. I can give you an example for myself. I graduated in 2008, which is during basically an economic meltdown. And, I couldn't even get a job as a barista. And I used to be a barista in the past, so it was pretty bad. And so, I applied to many things. I kept getting rejected. And finally, I landed an AmeriCorps volunteer position, keyword being volunteer. And I used to live in Seattle, and the position was in Washington, D.C. And by the time I got this volunteer position, I was a teller at a bank, and I hated every minute of that job because I never wanted to be in customer service, but it was paying me, and so I can pay my bills. And so I had to make this decision. I have this current job, and if I continue to do it, I'm going to go further away from what I want in my career, or there's this opportunity that's volunteer that would get me, closer to positions that I would like in the long term. So quitting a paying job for a volunteer job, hard decision, but in the end, it got me closer to what I wanted in a career. So being able to make hard decisions like that, I would has helped me secure jobs, at least jobs that I want in the long term, if that makes sense.
It does. So Gabe asked you guys a question. He really thanked you for your time, and he said, "Are women better readers of people and organizations?" This would be a great insight from you guys. Martha, feel free to answer that.
Well, I don't know. I'm not in men's mind, so.
I would say women are more in tune with other people. I don't know about organizations, but I know we're more in tune with other people and other people's needs. For better or worse, I think that's how we're made. So we might probably make better managers because we're inclined to keep other people happy. Like, I'm not talking about people pleasing, which is a terrible thing that we should stop doing as women. But in terms of just caring about the well-being of the people you work with, and the small chit chats of, hey, how are you doing? Knowing somebody's, child's name or something. A man might not know that. Like, if you have a manager as a man, he might not pay attention to those little things, but a woman would. And that kind of builds the relationship a little bit better. And sorry if I was gender biased here.
I don't think you are. So one follow-up question with Gabe's, and I think we have another question from Bekele Tamaru. So my follow-up question is, probably the IT field is very male dominated. So what really helped you to get yourself acquainted with the environment? What really helped you to achieve as a woman? What were you challenged as well? Bekele's question is, what is your biggest regret to last job? So with these two questions, I promise I will end the session. Go ahead, Martha.
Well, for the first question, how I was able to fit in an industry that is men dominated. I think for me, it's my passion for learning. My passion for learning, because the IT industry is a very agile industry. It's Like, if you don't love learning, don't get into it. I say that everywhere I go. If you do not love to learn, or you're not somebody that is passionate about learning new things, learning new technology, don't get into the IT field. Yeah, the money is good. Many people go there because of the money,
Yeah.
but there is so much to learn every day. Even when I got to the current job I have now, the first month I almost ran. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. But
Yeah.
when I observed around me, I realized everybody is the same. Nobody knows everything. Like, everybody is Googling, searching. So that kind of gave me like confidence. Okay, you're at the right place. It's not like you're stupid. It's just the way the industry is. Everybody's learning, searching for answers, Googling, and that's just the nature of the IT industry. So your passion for learning should be very, very like 99.9.
Got it.
Yeah. Then in terms of regret, don't say whatever comes to your mind.
Oh, really? That's a good one.
Like, if don't just say whatever you feel like saying,
Mm,
because you don't know how people might perceive you and just take it to another level. So when a thought comes to your mind regarding your boss or your work, process it, then say it in a way that it wouldn't be interpreted in a negative manner.
mhm.
Because I had a colleague who got fired last month.
Wow.
Like, he just made a statement about the boss, like in a very casual way, but the the transferer of the message said it in a very different way. I'm not sure if that's what he meant, but
Yeah.
he got fired because of that. So we should just don't just say whatever comes to your mind, process it and know how you say it and where you're saying it.
That's a great tip, Martha.
Yeah.
Mary.
Um, what is my regret? Moving into a management position without knowing how to manage. But I've I've done trainings now to be better at managing other people, and also to relate to what Martha said. I'm a consultant. As a consultant, you deliver what the client wants, and sometimes what the client wants might be stupid in your eyes.
Mhm.
And you always, if you want to challenge that, if you want to guide them in a better way, know how to do that. I remember being assigned something really ridiculous, and I was just going around in circles. I knew it was stupid, not achievable. Even if I achieved it, it would end up being shelved. No one would look at it. And we're in a meeting of like 10 people, and I'm asking questions, and the client is like, just do what I said. And I got upset, and I kept in this like battle. And it didn't end well. And this is a person who had a military background. You don't challenge authority in front of other people. So know what consulting means when you're a consultant, and also if you want to guide people, like manage up. You can manage down and also manage up. And managing up means, you might have to butter up somebody, make them feel good. Maybe they made a bad decision, but you don't have to call them out on it in front of 10 people. You may want to ask for a meeting alone. That way it's not like whose ego is going to win in the situation. So I guess I've had, bad outcomes in managing up and managing down. So something for me to work on in the future.
So I have to be considerate of our time, but I don't think our business here is not done. Both of you, I'm sure you have a lot of stories and insightful tips that you haven't shared. I really, really hope that I will have you back on the session soon. Please, like, I'm literally begging you guys, like, this is the best session I've had in a while. Thank you very much for your time. I thank everyone of our participants. Most of the things that we talked about will be discussed with tomorrow's trainings. I told you about we're having one with Dr. Gabe, 10 professional behaviors that accelerate your careers. We talked about like proactive mind, critical thinking, problem solving. You know, I hope we did not ruin that training, but like Gabe will, Gabe will go in depth and then like, present like his article and his insights. I hope you make it tomorrow. Um, Thank you very much again. Thank you, everyone.
May I,
Stay.
Fasil, may I just say maybe use 1 minute, 1 minute,
Yes,
maybe
sir.
you half a minute?
Yes,
I
sir.
just want to say, I don't know if I have anything to say tomorrow because these two women, I had just had the best time, better than when I watch Oprah. So since you begged them, may I ask the two women if they can maybe join us tomorrow? Maybe they can. I really enjoyed this session, and this is incredible. And if the two of them will consider maybe showing up tomorrow, it will be meaningful because I'm sitting here and saying, man, there is just a lot I need to learn,
It'll be a
especially
blessing,
in
Gabe. It
anything
would
they say.
definitely be a blessing.
Yeah, but I'll do my very best. But hey, I think you learned everything there is. If there are friends of yours who did not, come here, send them tomorrow. Maybe if the two join us, they can make it colorful. I mean, this is the very first time I have to speak against my own session. So
What time?
I'm being honest.
What time tomorrow?
Noon Eastern time.
No.
Minnesota time, 11 o'clock, if you have time. So
11
Mary,
a.m.
Martha, lunch is on me. Lunch is on me.
Virtual lunch?
Lunch is going to be on me. My wife is actually cooking right now, so it will be served, especially for the two speakers. So
Is that going to be virtual lunch or real lunch?
it's going to be for real. So Mary knows it. So just be there. You'll be fed. You'll be fed.
I mean,
Really, thank you.
I think my noon hour is free tomorrow. I was actually thinking of calling in as a guest, not like as a person who's
just as a guest.
Talking.
Maybe a guest. Yeah, whatever.
No, I mean, like, yeah, I was gonna call in anyway. So
okay, perfect.
Okay, thank you very much. Just FYI, like that's a trap. Gabe is trapping you, so like
I know this is.
But it'll be a blessing, truly. Like
you'll
be a blessing.
From the audience? Any more questions from anyone?
Sure. We can take. We're over time, but like we can take one more question from the audience. One more question. I promise I'll end this after 3 minutes. It looks like everyone is leaving.
I see a question from Miraf.
What was that?
Oh, there's no question.
I believe so. But I hope like I'll keep in touch with you guys.
There is a question I posted, Fasil.
Okay.
So actually, the question is, I can just save you time. I can certainly tell you, women are better readers of people and organizations. My wife, we visit with people. She will know the kind people and the mean people. I have no idea. If they smile, they are nice to me, but she would know. So my question is, I mean, that's kind of like that's a true statement. Now, my question is, do you mind sharing maybe a few tips how to read an organization fast, how to read people fast? Just break down some of the codes. As a man, I'm clueless. It really, something has to hit me in the head for me to know something is not working. So if any clues you can share would be greatly appreciated.
So that we can be fair for everyone. Sorry for the interruption. Martha added one question. So that we have to be fair, let's bring up her question. She's asking, Miraf is asking Martha, she's asking, when you change your career, did you start from an entry position or like, what was the situation? If you can add that to the question.
Okay. Hi, Miraf. Thanks for the question. Oh, the question says, after you change career to IT, what experience did you put? Or you started as entry level? Well, like I said, I had no IT background. So when I made a decision after doing my research that I'm going to go into IT and what part of IT, so I studied the industry and I saw that cloud computing is it's what is in demand, or what is like the world is going digital. So I I just studied cloud computing. What do I need? What is it that is required in order for me to study cloud computing? So from there, when I saw the picture, I kind of painted a picture in front of me. What is it that I need? So I actually started from scratch. I started from learning computer fundamentals. I did like CompTIA plus networking, like getting from scratch, learning the computer basics. What's an operating system? That's from where I started. Learning IP addresses, learning binary, how to convert, those little things, like starting from the bottom. So that's where I started. I took like 4 months to learn computer fundamentals, CompTIA, and Network Plus. So once I had that foundation, then I started cloud computing. Yeah, you need to have a foundation. You don't just jump into doing cloud computing, because cloud computing is virtualized traditional computing. So if you don't know the traditional computing, what are you virtualizing, right? So you need to like get a base, get a foundation. It could be networking, it could be a security foundation, then it could be a database foundation, system admin. Then from there, now you move to the associate level, which is cloud computing. And that's the entry, that's the level I entered into the industry with.
Thank you very much. I think we went by 7 minutes. Both of you, I will follow up with you. I'm pretty sure that, we have to like have you back on the show again. So
I
I'll
know.
definitely follow up with you. Thank you for your time, everybody. See you next on January 14th. Don't forget about tomorrow's session as well. Take care of yourself, be cautious, wear your mask, and stay strong and stay in good spirit. With that, good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.